Welcome to another small ramble video with me, writer and mental health advocate Tobe Allen, also one half of the BARROW Podcast, the show I do with my mum where we talk about divorce, dysfunctional families and mental illness while attempting to write our memoir together. I'm still in the car, or I'm back in the car, and somebody's parking next to me. Hopefully they've got enough room, although now I'm a little afraid that they do not, and that I'm going to be okay. They also have a cracked windshield, which is always a sign that everything is humming along smoothly with that individual. Where was I? Okay, so back in the car. Got my Jackie's hat on. I did not go to see the newest Paul Thomas Anderson movie. What was it called? One Battle After Another, or One Battle After the Next, or something. There was Everything, Always, Everywhere, All at Once, and now there's One Battle After Another, After the Next. I don't know. These titles of these movies are just becoming ridiculous. The DiCaprio vehicle. I didn't go and see the latest Paul Thomas Anderson movie, which came out a while ago, let's be fair. And I haven't seen it since, and I'm not going to. And I'm slightly bothered by that, or perturbed by it, or maybe I'm not that bothered by it, but it did sort of bring up, I think, some questions for me, which is like, why didn't I go and see that film? And this kind of relates to, I think that society and culture and people have just changed so dramatically, so radically in the last, 15 years, that I'm sort of questioning the meaning or the purpose of art anymore, in some senses. Like, I don't think a guy like a Paul Thomas Anderson really has a place in the world we're in anymore. And that's that kind of auteur director who makes smart movies, but sort of with intention behind them, but they're very unique and particular to him. The kind of artist that really impresses themselves onto the consuming public. So I'm doing what I want, and you come to me. There's been a shift, a noticeable shift, and it's funny. To be clear, I don't. I think I didn't go and see it, mostly because I just really dislike his films now, and I had no interest in going and seeing it. It isn't to say I don't think he's my personal taste aside, doesn't really matter. It's just weird that like a guy who has directed, a couple of films that I really love in There Will Be Blood, and I used to love Boogie Nights, and also The Master. I thought Phantom Thread was quite good. Anyway, it's just interesting to me, my level of disengagement with, that's somebody whose movie surely I should run out and see, no matter whether I like it or not, no matter what the review is. I should go and engage with that person because they've held some kind of place in my life in the past, and yet I have no interest in going. And I'm trying to work out, like, why is that? Like, is that a me thing, or is that a cultural thing? I think it's a cultural thing. And what I'm saying is, I don't think that there's a place for those kinds of people anymore, in a weird way. Like, I spent my adolescence and early adulthood doing nothing but watching movies. And today, I don't think you could pay me to go to the cinema today. I mean, I do go to the movies, don't get me wrong. I do. But you know what I mean? Like, I am bored to death at the prospect of watching a drama, at the prospect of watching the kind of movie that says it has something to say about the world. And I kind of think that the world is so utterly ridiculous and so vapid and stupid that there is nothing to say about it anymore. Like, it's kind of like if you watch the show South Park, the animated comedy. I shouldn't have to say what it is. People know what I'm talking about. Regardless, again, of what you think about that show, the show is essentially a satire of society. And I think that we got to a point of ridiculousness in how we behave and how our culture manifests and what have you, that there's nothing to poke fun at anymore. Like, it all is kind of silly. Like COVID and lockdowns and protocols and standing 1 meter from one another, and like, again, regardless of whether that was necessary or unnecessary according to your views and your politics and what have you, it was crazy, you know, like, it was wild, like, it was so over the top, and the anxiousness that it created in people, and the sort of the constant kind of pressing of media and information, and where do I go and what do I do, and this sort of invasive digital stuff that comes with all of life now, that, you know, online Zoom meetings, working from home, coming up with like cute little terms to make people feel good, like essential worker, and suddenly we're banging pots because of the nurses, and like, it's all inherently ridiculous. Like, again, that's not a political statement. It's over the top, it's melodramatic, it's like the world has become a parody of itself. Like, everybody is a caricature, everybody is a cartoon, you know, and we see that in the political sphere of the left and right and the drift and the constant screaming. And what is there to say? I think this is my point. What is there left to say about a world like this? I really think that, at least in Western countries, we have culturally and socially jumped the shark. Like, it's just nuts, you know, like, it's just kind of, it's weird. There's these big divides between rich and poor, yet, you know, like, everybody has an iPhone, and like, people are complaining about cost of living, but they're ordering Uber Eats. It's just like, nothing makes sense. And I think that it so doesn't make sense, and it's so parodic, a parody of itself, and so wild and weird, that there's nothing to say. Like, what are you going to say? What are you going to say? And so making a kind of like a serious film seems part of the joke. Like, that in itself seems funny. Like, you're going to make a serious film at a time like this? Please, come on. But also making a parody, it's like, well, it falls flat on its face. You can't make a comedy or satirize any of this because it's so inherently silly too. And then trying to be individualistic and weird or quirky or an auteur director seems ridiculous too, because it's like, okay, great, you're going to be an individual like everybody else who thinks they're an individual talking to a phone camera on the internet. Like, come on, you know. Yeah, but it's strange for me to consider the fact that I used to be so engaged and now I'm so disengaged. I couldn't care less about the latest movie. I couldn't care less about the latest book. And, you know, I dedicated most of my life to a fairly antiquated, you know, art form, which is novel writing. And, you know, I was writing effectively literary realism, which now just seems ridiculous. Again, it's like making your serious film. What are you going to say? There's nothing to say. It's mental out there. Who cares? Yeah, I kind of just question the power of any of that stuff. But I also think, given my own sort of taste and inclinations at the moment, that maybe all people want from art now is pure escapism. Like, I always sort of, you know, rolled my eyes at the word escapism a little bit because I don't know why. It's just like, oh, okay, whatever. Maybe not really how I came to things, but I don't know. If I had to go to a movie, like, if I'm going to pay my money and go to a cinema, I want to see right now the mood I'm in, the state I'm in, how I feel about the world. The things I want to see is I want to see a horror movie, I want to see a thriller, or I want to see a kind of like a B-grade idea realized with A-grade effects and production, right? So like, you know, like the Predator movies, for instance, or something like that, where it's like, yeah, okay, it's like a hunter from outer space, whatever, like, go crazy with it. Lots of blood, lots of gore, lots of ridiculousness, that's fine. But contained within like 90 minutes of entertainment, escapism, and I leave the cinema and I go, that was a movie. I don't want your art to tell me anything anymore. Isn't that weird? That feels really weird. I used to want, you know what it is? I think I've just stumbled on it. I think we're so oversaturated by people's opinions and ideas that I don't want an opinion in my movie. I don't want an opinion in my novel. I don't want your idea. Just give me something. Make me feel something. Make me go, that was a movie. That was a book. Yeah. And then I can walk away from it. I think that's what it is. I think that I feel oversaturated by people's opinions and their ideas, and I feel immersed in them 24 hours, 7 days a week, that when I go to the cinema or I open a book, I just want a piece of cinema. I just want the book. Like, I want that kind of purity and that kind of distilled, this is what this is. I think that's what it is. I think that's what's going on for me, which is really weird. Like, I've never been this way. And man, I used to be open to, I would watch so much art house cinema, and I was a real cinema buff. You know, I was obsessed with it. And now I'm like, please, just, I want to see Predator cut somebody's head off. Could be a me thing. Let me know if you feel similarly, or you've had thoughts, opinions. I don't want your opinions. Actually, you know what? No comments on this one. Check out the BARROW Podcast. Bye.